All right, we're coming into the weekend round. I finished my opening round, the 2019 Christmas weekend. This is how I set my notes up. It's a old school Barney Rubble, Fred Flintstone type way of doing it, but I've been doing it like this ever since the game came out, and so this is my comfortable setting here. So you can pause the screen and take a look at it. I came in the qualifying round. I shot a minus 13. I shot a minus 30 in the opening round. My minimum goal, if you want to win, I think it's minus 30. You need to shoot the minimum minus 24 just to get up in there. But these are my notes. So let's go look at the hole and see what direction I'm going at all these holes to make those work. All right, so hold on one second here. Let's switch back over. I'll give you a black screen desktop. Come in here and we'll start on hole number 1. Photos provided by my teammate Dez. Thank you, Dez. You're the man. All right, so hole number 1. I know there's multiple ways, but for those notes, with my upper developed, I'll do both lower and upper developed stuff. Lower developed and upper developed, I'm going for the green and 1. So with my lower developed stuff, I'm bringing in a power 3 ball, extra mile, max topspin, and trying to blast it up there. I'm having to use max overpower the whole bit, trying to get it up in there. If I end up in the sand or the rough, you can recover from up there. With my upper developed account, my 77 account, I am bringing a power 5 ball, one of the new present balls, extra mile. If you don't have an extra mile number 9, use your Apocalypse 3 or 4. Those will be your best opportunities to match up with that club. And I'm rigging the power 5 ball so I don't have to do any overpower. So my red line's down in here, so I'm moving it over a little bit. My ball guide's kind of taking me this way, and I'm having to put a little bit of curl on it just to bring it back through the fairway. No overpower. I'm doing 2 less than max topspin. So if you have an extra mile 9, I'm not doing max topspin. I'm doing a couple less than max topspin, and it's getting me right up here to the top. So I have a nice short chip on. If you're down below, you're probably going to need to take off about 10% of the wind because the green's up here, and if you're in that sand or the rough, you're down the hill. So you're going uphill, and you'll need to take a little bit of wind off. I'm hoping that I don't have to do that shot. I want to get this one up here where I'm just doing the chip on. But the goal is to try and do the chip on. So if you end up in the sand or the rough, you're going to need to take off a little bit of wind, but the whole goal is to try and get up there and get a short chip or get on and get a putt. Hole number 2, I'm going at it with a power 5 ball. So in my upper developed count, I'm coming out with a power 5 ball, and I'm trying to get out here into the 450 range. And that's giving me a hornet shot, about a mid hornet shot to come into the hole, and I'm doing a 40% wind adjustment. Need to know your short iron numbers if you're taking these shots. I hit my hornet 111922. So if I'm in max 11, mid 19, minimum 2.2, doing a 40% wind adjustment, 450 yards is what you're kind of looking for out here as your target zone. If you're bringing a power 3 ball and you're using overpower, this is a max overpower shot to get out there. If you're bringing a power 3 ball, you're going to be out here, and the way this terrain looks is it's down like this, and so you're at a lower spot when you're here than when you're out here. You're up here on the hill. So if you're, depending on what ball you're out bringing out, you're going to need to work this adjustment depending on, because it's not going to be the same here as it would be from where I'm trying to hit out here. If you have lower developed stuff, I would just do a layup here and get on the green. It's going to be a long iron or a wood to get up on the green, and take your eagle and move on down the road, because you don't want to have to take your lower developed stuff, and if you end up out in the rough over here, have to deal with that. I could recover with upper developed stuff, but you can't recover with lower developed stuff. So lower developed, extra mile, power 3 ball. You're on a par 5, bring out a power 3 ball. Get up into this area, it'll get you more into your club. Up from this area right here, I think with my lower developed account, I'm still going to do the 40% wind adjustment, because this plateau is about the same height as the topper or the upper part of this plateau. If you're down here in this range here with a power 3 ball, it's probably in the 30%. Hole number 3, both accounts. Obviously with my lower level account, I don't have the ball guide, so it's hard. You gotta kind of eyeball it and figure out where it's going to be. Red line, I'm bringing in my lower developed account, I'm bringing a Viper. and a Kingmaker. In my upper developed account, I'm bringing a Sniper and a Kingmaker. Obviously, I get more ball guide with the Sniper. That's why I'm bringing it. And I'm doing a 1 per ring adjustment, even though I'm at minimum club. Now, a couple things about this. The way the wind's blowing, the wind's going, I think, in this direction right here. We're getting a little teeny bit of headwind. So I take that back. I think the wind is blowing. The wind's blowing this way. Scratch that. The wind's blowing this way. So you're going to have to pull that wind out. So if you got to give yourself enough room up here against your red line to be able to pull the wind out. If you're normally, like when we're doing the wind adjustments, we would come at it from this direction and we would pull it this way to take the wind out. But these trees over here are in the way. So you've got to come at it from the other side and push the wind out instead of trying to do our normal pull. So that's important because it can save you some time and you can end up making a bad adjustment. I've hit several. I'm about 50% on this hole as far as hole-in-ones, and I'm super close on the times that I miss it. So with both clubs, even though I'm at minimum club, I'm doing a max club adjustment. So with my Viper, I'm doing a 1.9 per ring, and with my Sniper, I'm doing a 1 per ring. That's max distance, at a max distance adjustment, even though I'm at minimum club. And I'm bringing the Power 3 low wind ball, the Kingmaker, to help cut the wind down, to try and increase my odds of getting a hole-in-one on that. Hole number 4, low level account, QB, Titan. Any ball will work. You can bring any ball. If you want to save some balls, save them. I'm only bringing a Titan because I'm trying to get deeper into my club. But with the QB, I'm not doing any overpower. I'm doing max topspin, which with the level QB I have, I think it's only like a 7. It's like 3.5 topspin. And I'm coming out into this area right here trying to get as much forward roll as I can. And with the QB, it's super accurate. You can hit a 3-ring great to the left or the right, and you'll still end up in the fairway and not bleeding off. Start off dead center in the fairway. Okay, don't try and get greedy. Just you're trying to lay it up out here so you can get this long iron shot. With the long iron shot coming into the cup, with my lower level account, I'm probably going to do from that area. There is a wind adjustment, but I haven't hit that enough. I'm not sure. Maybe 20-30%. Let me see if I wrote that down here. Hole number 4. I did not write down what I'm doing on with my lower level account. It's probably going to be somewhere above a 10% wind adjustment, probably in the 20 or 30. Zoom in on your ring set. If you can see your ring set, you're pretty close. If you're far away, you're going to need to do at least a 20 or a 30. But this is definitely the way to go. It's consistent. You can't get out here and get in trouble if you got lower developed stuff. You are SOL. So hit over here. Use an accurate club. With my upper developed account, I'm bringing my Extra Mile. If you've got an Apocalypse, this will be a great hole for it. And I'm bringing a 4 power ball. So I'm bringing my Extra Mile 9, and you can match that up with the Apocalypse 3 or 4. I'm bringing a 4 power ball, Kingmaker X, KMX, and I'm putting on all of the side spin, all of the top spin, and a little teeny bit of curl. So my ball's going off like it's going off in this direction. I got to put a little bit of curl just to cover the distance. What I'd really like to do on this hole, if I had more time to practice it, is I would pull the ball out here to the left and I'd set it up over here so that I could do a max curl shot and I just have a setup shot. But I haven't had enough time to practice that. So I'm just kind of hitting it straightforward and putting on all the side spin and a little bit of curl. Not a lot of curl, but about, like here's your ball, here's your ring set. I'm pushing it over so that it's, somewhere in this neighborhood right here. Because you can't put too much curl on it or you'll swing it around and it'll clip that rough. And if you wanted to miss that rough, you'd have to push it out to the left. And that's why I'm saying I haven't had time to practice that. The goal is to get right out here in front. If you're right out there in front on this hole right here, you're going to be with your Hornet, and it's a 10% wind adjustment. You could potentially, if you get deep enough down in there, be in your wedge range. And if I'm using a Rapier and it's at 1.3. So knowing your numbers for your clubs is super important. If you're trying to get down in there into your short iron or your wedge range, you need to know the numbers on your club. So for me, it's more than likely going to be in Hornet range, and it's 1.1, 1.9, 2.2, depending on where I'm at in the club, and I'm going to do a 10% wind adjustment. I have hit several eagles on this hole. The back 9 for the opening round, starting at hole number 8. The first 7 holes is just kind of playing, but hole number 8 I caught on fire, and I ended up hitting 6 under on the last 11 holes. So I was on fire on those. But getting out here, and I did get the eagle on this on the back side. All right, that's what I'm doing on that hole. That's the way I'm coming at it, and that's what I'm bringing. This hole right here, I finally got this hole worked the way I want to work it. I'm not going to do this rough bump. I think it's too dangerous. And I'm not saying that, and part of the deal is you have to bring a Goliath, or you have to bring someone that's got topspin in order to do this, and I'm reluctant to bring. It's an inaccurate club. You're doing a very small rough bump in a very narrow little rough area there. I'm going to start off over here. I'm with my Grizzly. I'm using a Grizzly. And I'm going to bring a Kingmaker. I switched from a Katana to a Kingmaker. It's putting me right at mid-club. I'm hitting it at 1.5 per ring. And I'm going to do a 20% wind adjustment. And that gives me, and I'm going to do max backspin. That's about 4 backspin on it. And then I'm going to dial it into the hole as far as the side spin goes. I haven't really found a spot out here that, and I'm sure there is one, but I haven't really looked at it. I've been on 4 backspin and then I dial it into the hole. 1.5 per ring, 20% wind adjustment. In my lower level account, I'm going to use a backbone. And once again, it's going to be a mid club. So mid club on a backbone. Hold on one second. I'll work the math for you. That's going to be 1.8 per ring. And I'm going to do the same exact thing. About 4 backspin, Kingmaker, 20% wind adjustment. And the first time, here's the cup. Here's the flag. The first time through, I hit it great to the right, and I ended up right off the cup. And the next time through, I hit it great to the left and ended up right off the cup. So, I mean, it's right there. And the speed's right so that if I would have been on trajectory, it could have went in the hole. So, I mean, I am right there. So that's the numbers I'm using. Hole number, what hole number is this? Is this hole number 6? Is that last one 5? Yeah, this one is 6. Okay. Lower level account. I'm kind of undecided, but I think what I'm going to do on my low level account is I'm going to try and hit more towards the tip. I was hitting out here towards the middle, and this is a perfectly viable shot. And if you're anywhere in between, you can still do them, but it's better to either be in the middle or be towards the tip. This in-between area kind of puts you in a little bit of a spot of bother, but not too bad. If you're in the mid area, so here's the mid, here's the tip. If you're kind of in the mid area, this shot over here is going to be the one that's going to be more open. This shot is with a big dog. I'm going to bring in my lower level account. I'm going to bring in my Extra Mile, a Titan, and a big dog. Sorry about that. I got something on my screen, so I was wiping it off. So if you're out in this area right here, coming in with your big dog, you're going to have to dial it in depending on where your landing zone is. You want your second bounce to be just on the other side of that, and you'll have to put some curl on it to bring it up. It is a little bit, the tricky shot here is actually the second shot, not the first shot. And it is easy to overshoot this, and it's not going to take very much topspin. Yeah, if you hit back farther, you'll have to put a little bit more on, but if you're in the right zone where you're in the middle or you're kind of like a little bit in front of that, it's probably in the couple topspin, but you'll have to dial it in for your area. So I'm reluctant to tell you, hey, it's 2 topspin, because it may be 2.5, it may be 1.5. You want to just be, when you're on the other side over here, down in this hole right here, your first bounce is going to be here. You want your second bounce to just barely be able to make that, because on the other side of this, what it looks like is, here's the rough area, and then it literally drops off and then comes like this, and then there's a shelf over here on the other side, and it's really easy to come in and pick that up, and then it slides forward and you pick up distance, and it'll pop over the other side, and you'll end up on the rough over here. You want to just barely land here and let it roll out onto the green. If you're shooting from the front out here, I think this shot is probably a little bit easier. So if you're out here in the front, you're going to still be with your big dog trying to bring it in this way. And the reason I say it's a little bit easier is because you're dealing with nothing but fairway here. You don't have to bridge this gap. So it's a little bit easier. The one thing you're missing in your big dog is going to be ball guide. So you're going to have to kind of figure out, you're going to have to watch so you don't overshoot this. But it is easy to get an eagle on this with lower developed clubs. With my upper developed account, I'm going to land out in this area right here with a power 4 ball. And what I found with the power 5 is that when I did max overpower, my second bounce was in the rough, and anywhere on the arc, it was in the rough. So if I was shooting it through in this area, my second bounce is in the rough, and there's no way I'm going to make it through. So I brought a 4 power ball, and I switched to a Kingmaker X because it gives me great side spin, and it gives me good wind on the second shot. And the side spin and the wind is good on the second shot. And I'm trying to blast it off from this area here. And what I'm trying to do is not so much hit it at the widest spot, but I'm trying to hit it like this, at a narrower spot in the fairway. So what I'd really like to do is come through somewhere. I don't want to come through like this, but I'd like to come through like this and end up out here, as opposed to coming at it and then trying to get here. If you're going on this trajectory, I've been getting, out into this area, but it's not, you don't have enough at the end of your run to pop you out. So you need to be a little bit to the right. So I've been setting this shot up so that I'm centered out here, and then I'm putting on max overpower, max side spin. I'm putting on all the top spin I can put on, whatever's left in side spin, and then maximum curl, trying to bring it around through this narrow area. This area right here is better than anything that you can achieve on this side. From this area right here, you can get into your long iron range. This shot over here, everybody I've seen that's been really successful at this shot is still in their wood range. So if you can bleed out right here, you're in your long iron. But the cool thing is that your rough iron, your Nirvana, your maxed out Razor, your Amazon are basically long iron. So if you end up in the rough out here, it's not the end of the world. Just get up on the green, get your eagle, and move on. If you end up in the rough out here, you're SOL. I'm not a fan of this side right here, especially this one up at the top, because I think the distance that you can net is not any better than the distance you can net here. And if you don't get your drive out into the fairway, if you don't get this drive out into the fairway here, and you end up out here in the rough, you can recover. If you mess this shot up, you're in trouble. So those are the two ways I'm going to go with that. Hole number 7. Oh, I've hit hole number 7 and hole number 3. It hasn't quite been 50% on these holes, but it's pretty dang close to 50% of the time I've come here, I've hit a hole in one. So I'm doing the same thing here I'm doing on hole number 3. Red lines right here. With my upper developed clubs, my red line is actually a little bit further forward. I am literally right against the red line. I can't go back any further. The wind is blowing in this direction, so I'm able to pull that wind out. I'm doing a max wind adjustment. I'm bringing a sniper and a Kingmaker. And I'm doing a max wind adjustment, 1 per ring, even though I'm at minimum club, and it's going into the hole. With my lower developed account, I'm going right to my red line, which is down here. And it puts me where it puts me with my lower developed club. I'm using a Viper. Is my blue ring is off of this transitional surface. It's like right on the edge. A little teeny bit of my blue ring is hanging into the fringe. And I'm doing the same thing, about 3.5, 4 backspin. And I'm doing a 1.9. I'm doing a max wind adjustment with whatever wood you're doing. And in my case, it's a Viper and it hits 1.9 per ring at max. I'm doing a max wind adjustment at minimum club, and it's going right towards the hole. The problem with my lower developed account is I don't have the ball guide to line me up on it, and I'm hitting it right. I'm making great wind adjustments, but my trajectory is slightly off because I can't see where the ball is going. But we have serious hole-in-one shots on this. These last 3 holes, we have serious chances of picking something up on all 3 of the we have a serious chance of picking up something on the first 3 on every hole, and we have a serious chance on the last 3 of picking up something on every hole. So this hole right here, it starts with this hole. Hole number 8, low level account, QB, 100% accurate club. You can come at this with any ball you want, but I'm using a Titan. Actually, I'm going to switch this. You can use a Titan. I'm using the Kingmaker because I'm trying to cut the wind out on the second shot. I came at this with a Marlin, so you can hit this with any ball. I'm hitting it right up here to the top. It does not take all the top spin. If you're using a Marlin, you can put on all the top spin, but if you're using a Kingmaker, you can't put on all the top spin and it'll roll off the top. So it doesn't take very much, if any, to just get up here to the top. You're not trying to get any distance here. You're just trying to get up on the top. From the top down to the hole, 40% wind adjustment. And I have picked up the eagle in my low level account. I shot a 26 with my low level account, and this is one of the holes that I picked up. With my upper developed account, And with my lower developed account, it's too risky to get down here. I'm going to end up in the rough, and if you end up here in the rough, you can't get on. So it's 100% of the time I'm going to be able to get this 100% accurate shot up here, and then I'm going to be able to take my long iron and go over and over and over and try and get that eagle. With my upper developed account, I'm coming here with a Power 5 ball, and I was using a snow globe, but I switched to a present ball, and I switched to the present balls because if I don't need a lot of curl here. I needed more curl when I was up here at the top. I started off the week trying to do this so that I could open up this fairway so the fairway was wider instead of trying to come at it at an angle. And the deal is that where I was landing out here was in order to make it so that I could land that Power 5 ball with max overpower, I had to be farther to the left. And my extra mile doesn't have quite enough curl to really bring me back around. If I set it up in the perfect spot so that I could make that with the curl on the extra mile, if I hit a great to the right, I'd end up pinching the sand here. So I switched, and I decided that I'm just going to go for this thread the needle shot. I don't normally like to take these shots, but I'm setting up my Power 5 here, and I'm trying to just come up, and I'm only using 6 topspin. So on my extra mile 9, I'm using 6 topspin. And what I was looking for there when I test that out is when you're at max overpower, like where does it start to the point where the second bounce is on this fairway? So 5 was a little short, 7 was a little long. So I worked on 6. If you can hit this shot, you're going to be right down here on the green. You're either going to be making a putt or making a very short chip, and there really isn't any wind adjustments. If you end up anywhere in this area here, you are going to have to make a wind adjustment, and I think that I'm going to still stick with the 40% if I'm down there. And I've made eagles from up here, and I've made eagles from right here. I've made an eagle from a short chip, and I've made eagles from here. And anytime I made a wind adjustment, I was making a 40% wind adjustment, so I'm going to stick with that. But there are several ways to play this. The safe way is up here at the top. I've decided I'm going to go for it because I'm going to go for it. And I think the lower one down here is safer. So if you do end up in trouble, you're just going to end up in the rough or the sand and not end up in the drink. From up here, if you hit a bad shot to the left, you're in the drink. Okay, hole number 9. Hole number 9. Lower level clubs. I'm laying up right here. QB, 100% accurate club, max topspin. Bringing out a Titan, hitting right here. My Viper is engaging somewhere depending on how much distance I have right here. And so the shot is coming out like this. So I'm having to set the shot up. I want to be 2 to 3 rings off of the transitional surface, put on max curl, max side spin, and bring it back to the cup. It's a blind shot, so I have no idea where it's really going to go. It's all just kind of like looking at it and hoping. I have pretty much a 99.99 chance that I'm not going to get an Albie, but I have a really good chance, about the same chance that I'm going to get my eagle and move on. You can hit it out here as long as you get in front of that shadow and past those trees. So this area right here, and then you'll have a nice shot. With my upper developed account, bringing a Power 5 ball. Trying to blast that sucker up into this area right here, and it's putting me into my mid hornet from up here. And from up there, I'm doing a 30% wind adjustment. So I'm bringing an extra mile, level 9, bring your APOC 3 or 4, max overpower, Power 5 ball, trying to blast it up into this area. If I end up in any trouble out here, I can easily get on. It's not the end of the world, but ideally you want to end up here. And if you get up here, you're in your mid short iron. At least with my Hornet, I'm in mid short iron, and I'm doing a 30% wind adjustment. And I have hit on hole number 9 in the opening round. I hit an Albie on this hole, so I know my numbers for the areas that I'm hitting in are good, because all of the holes that have these big wind adjustments during this opening round, I was able to, on one side or the other, pick up the shot. So it is possible on all of these holes. All right, so that's just kind of like my notes and what direction I'm going in this tournament. Hopefully everybody has a great round. Just looking at my clan here, let's get into my clan. So a little bit about the Kings of Golf. We had 44 out of 49 people try and qualify. So it's really important if in your clans to get everybody to get in these tournaments. If you're in a clan and you've got members that aren't, having difficulty and stuff, please send them to my channel. Hit subscribe down there. If you're in another clan other than ours, and just, the more people we can get in here, the better it is for everybody. And the whole goal is to try and help people get better finishes in these tournaments. So looking at the scores, and you can go through I posted all the holes down here so you can see kind of where I was picking stuff up. And the hole number 1, I accidentally played and didn't give myself a shot at it, but I was able to pick it up on the back. Hole number 3, I was so close, but we've got some really good opportunities here to pick shots up, and we need to be looking at -3. If you want to get a win here, you got to shoot -30 as a minimum. -24 is going to get you into the weekend round, and -24 is going to get you a decent finish. That's our minimum score that we're looking for. That's going to get you, and the way this tournament's going, it's going to net you a top 50. The way it's going, it's probably going to be somewhere between 30 and 45, maybe a little bit better. You shoot a 25, you're looking at probably somewhere between 35 and 20, maybe lower. You shoot a 26, you're definitely looking at a top 15, top 10, depending on your tiebreakers. But in order to get into that top 10, you really need to be at 26 or better. And if you want to win, you're going to need to be -30. Some of these brackets, there may be a bracket out there you went with a -29, but in most of the brackets, you're going to have to shoot at least a -30 to give yourself any shot at a win. So that's kind of what we want to look for. So as you go through, those were my notes. I got those notes from this round. So go through and take a look at the holes. And if you have members in your clan that are having issues or going through the stuff, please send them our way. Hit subscribe. I appreciate it. All right. Thanks for watching.